Dhruv and the Sword of Surya. Prince Dhruv lived in the shimmering kingdom of Surya, known for its carved temples and sweet mango orchards. Dhruv was kind, clever, and loved listening to epic tales under the banyan trees. But there was one thing the young prince hated, one thing that made his hands shake, the cold, sharp feel of a sword. His father, King Samar, was a powerful warrior who tried for years to teach him. "A king must know his blade, Dhruv," Samar would say patiently. But as soon as the sword touched his palm, Dhruv felt a great heaviness of dread. He would hold the weapon pointing uselessly at the dust, unable to even meet his father's eyes. Years passed, and Dhruv grew taller, but his fear grew too. He knew his kingdom needed a brave king, yet the practice yard remained the place he avoided most. He often stood alone by the tall windows, listening to the echoing clang of other warriors training, wishing he could conquer the fear that kept him from his duty. One scorching afternoon, the air was ripped by the terrifying blast of war horns. The mighty army of Rishabha had arrived, determined to conquer Surya. King Samar did not hesitate. He kissed the palace ground and rode out, majestic in his battle gear, leading the few remaining loyal warriors. Dhruv stood paralyzed, watching the smoke rise beyond the inner wall. Hour after hour, the desperate defense continued. Finally, a messenger collapsed, gasping the terrible news. The walls were breached, and all the royal warriors had fallen. Only King Samar fought on, standing alone at the fortress entrance. The roar of fighting suddenly ceased. A chilling silence fell. Then Dhruv heard the shouts of triumph. He ran to the courtyard just in time to see Vrishabha's soldiers dragging King Samar, wounded and disarmed, toward the enemy lines. The huge palace gates slammed shut, sealing Dhruv inside the empty fortress. Fear tried to freeze Dhruv, anchoring his feet to the stone. But seeing his noble father captured, that terrible sight shook his dread away and left only burning anger. He spotted a heavy, neglected sword leaning against an old stone fountain. He took a single, shuddering breath and reached out. Prince Dhruv stepped into the courtyard, raising the sword high and letting out a surprisingly loud challenge. He remembered the first words his father ever taught him. "Find the center, Dhruv, and stand steady." He met the charging enemy soldiers, using the clumsy, practiced movements from long ago. He was shaking, but he was fighting. The palace servants, the cooks, and the few remaining guards watched, stunned as their prince, the one who feared a wooden stick, fought like a lion. His courage was the spark. "Open the gates!" cried the chief cook. The people rushed forward, grabbing brooms, spades, and pot lids, joining the fight for their home. The unified roar of the people of Surya pushed the enemy back. They rushed the captors, and Dhruv, fueled by adrenaline, reached his father and cut his ropes. The enemy retreated, defeated not by armies, but by the courage of one young man who chose to start, despite his fear.